Evaluating graphics software. General overview. There are many software packages available in the industry which aid us in manipulating, editing, and saving digital images. In this presentation, I'll be going over the two popular ones widely used by many. The first package, GIMP. GIMP stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. It is a program used to manipulate images. It has very powerful functions and is quite a competitor to the other software packages available. However, it is quite limited in its capabilities. The interface of GIMP is quite like any other interface you would come across in other packages. Here is the toolbox which you use to make most of the operations while editing images. It contains a large collection of functions which aid in editing images. We will now go inside of GIMP and explore its range of features and functions it has to offer. Later, we will compare GIMP to another software package used to edit images. So here we are in GIMP. Let's take a look at some of its main features. Let's start with basic things that you will find in any other software editing package. I have an image of some skyscrapers here. If I right click, a menu comes up where I can select one of the many options available to manipulate this image. Let's go in Image, Scale Image, and attempt to scale this image. As you can see, a window comes up asking us for the properties for our image scale image operation. Here we can input the new size of the image and many different measurements such as pixels, inches, millimeters, points, etc. As we change one measurement, for example to 430, the other measurement changes automatically to keep the ratio of width to height equal to what it was before the change. If we don't want this ratio to be kept, we can click this icon here to unlock the ratio and edit the values how we want to. We can click scale once we're satisfied with our options, and the image changes its size. Easy. Let's undo this change. And so the next thing I want to show is layers. Nearly all image editing software operates in layers, which allows the user to easily change the properties, effects, visibility, and more of any layer. Currently, I have just one layer here called background. It currently holds the image of these skyscrapers. Now, say I wanted to completely change the color or any sort of effect just on the skyscraper without affecting the rest of the image. I can go to the toolbox here on the left, which contains many functions needed for editing images, and select the lasso tool. And with this tool I can select any part of this image. So let's go ahead and try select the skyscraper here on the left. I click and drag carefully around the edges of the skyscraper. Go around carefully, not to go over, select anything that I don't want to select. As you can see, this is quite tedious and not very effective. In the next software package that we will take a look at, this is much more simple. So now, as you can see, I did this very roughly because GIMP does not offer a magnetic lasso tool, which we will see in the next program. Now, if you right click and go to edit and cut, now this part of the layer that I'm editing is cut. Now if I right click again, click edit, paste as, and new layer, this what we just cut out is pasted onto another layer for us. So what we can do is use the move tool to move this back into place carefully, using the arrow keys here for some more precise movement. Alright, so now that the skyscraper is on a separate layer, we can add any sort of effects we want to it without disturbing the rest of the image. So if I show you here using these visibility buttons, you can see that this is a completely different layer, separate from the rest of the image. And I should also probably name these layers for more organization. When dealing with images in the real industry, you will have tons of these layers, which will all need to be properly named if you don't want to get confused. So we can name this skyscraper and name this just image. One major feature that GIMP is missing is layer effects, which adds things like strokes, shadows, glows, and other effects to single layers. This is a major drawback when compared to other software editing packages which include this. So now I can do pretty much anything to this selection and this layer. For example, add a gradient or add a gradient here, which does not disturb any of the rest of the image. So that concludes this short presentation on GIMP. The second package, Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop was made by Adobe in 2003. It is currently the leader in digital image software editing and is released in multiple versions. The package has constantly been improved over the years, leading to its current release, CS5, as of 13th of March 2012. Photoshop provides much more functions to its user than GIMP does. The functions are much more sophisticated, and the user is given almost full control over the whole image. The possibilities with Photoshop are endless, whereas GIMP has quite a few limitations. The reason for this is that Photoshop provides things like filters, advanced layer effects, and various other features which other packages don't provide. Let's take a look at Photoshop and see what really makes it stand out from its competitors. We are now on Photoshop, and I will be doing the same thing like with GIMP and explaining what makes Photoshop a superior image editing package. Here I have the same image of the skyscrapers from before. Let's try and cut it like in GIMP. An incredibly useful function which Photoshop has is the magnetic lasso, found right here. And this selection tool sticks to edges of surfaces, which greatly helps in selecting elements from images like this. Let's go ahead and try to select the same skyscraper. As you can see, the lasso tool is a great help when selecting the skyscraper. It sticks to the edges of the skyscraper, even if I go slightly off. This is very helpful when selecting things. Of course, it's not always perfect, but this can be fixed using the other selection tools after. It's quite rushed, that's why it's not very neat. However, we can easily fix this using the other, for example, the polygonal lasso tool. And this is quite rushed. In the industry, we would be much more careful when selecting images like this. Plus, this image has loads of detail in it, so it can never really be perfect. And there we are. So now that we have this selected, we can cut it and make a new layer using this button here. So let's do Control X to cut from this layer, then go to this layer and go to Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place. Now this function is not available in GIMP, but it is in Photoshop, which is very helpful because now we don't have to use our arrow keys and such to move this skyscraper back into place, and it's just pasted right back for us. Once again, our skyscraper is separated from the original image, and now we can edit it separately, as you can see. Another very major advantage that Photoshop has over GIMP is layer effects. If we double click on this layer, we from here I can add various things just to the skyscraper which are cut out, such as stroke, shadow, glow, and more, without affecting the rest of the image, of course. Since the skyscraper is separate from the rest of the image, I can of course add effects just to the rest of the image instead of adding it to the skyscraper. For example, let's add this gradient there. Now, another very cool feature in Photoshop is filters. So, using these filters, I can add various artistic effects to the whole image, which make it look great. Let me show you some of these filters on another image. I can go over to this menu here, Filter, then go to Filter Gallery, and I can choose from countless amounts of awesome filters for my image. So let's select a random filter, such as, let's see, artistic. I like this one, fresco. I can adjust the filter to how I like, and then press OK when I'm happy. And now the filter is applied, and my image looks great. Now, this concludes this short overview of Photoshop. Conclusion. To conclude, both Photoshop and GIMP offer similar functions that allow the user to make a lot of adjustments and be in control of the digital image. While Photoshop does this much better, providing more sophisticated functions and features, it may not be very affordable. GIMP is a free download from the developer's website. Photoshop remains the industry's leader as a graphic editing package, however GIMP is still an excellent choice for less professional needs. Did you know? Photoshop is used to create special effects in some movies, adjust makeup and facial features of celebrities, design websites, and much more. Thanks for listening.